This is a pretty nice kitchen in this old house that me and my wife have got here. I like the way they did the kitchen. You know, it's a small kitchen, so you always got the countertop full of things when you're making a meal. There ain't a lot of room. And so the way they built this really is a nice thing. I like it. You need a cutting board. So there it is, right there. You get a built-in cutting board. This is a nice feature. You can call it a pastry board, a bread board. I like to call it a cutting board. You cut up whatever you want here, onions or carrots or fish if you want. And when you're all done, it just retracts. Well, if you cut up fish or something out here, you better lug it over to the sink, because you can take it right out like that. And then you can lug it over to the sink and clean it off. Well, this one's old. It's as old as the house. You know, that lady that lived here before us, she raised a bunch of kids, and they all lived through this cutting board. So I'm going to put a new one in. Let me show you that. Well, I'm going to have to put a little finish on here, right here, to match this, but that's all I'm going to do. And now this is the new style. It's made up out of hardwood all the way through. So you can do some fancy cutting on this. And then you can shove this in as far as you want, all the way to the back. And then when you need a cutting board, you just pull it up. There it is. Nice. It's a nice deal. In this house, there's actually two cutting boards. This must be where the lady spent her time, because this board is really cut up to pieces. So this one I'm going to replace for sure in this spot. Now these boards are real popular in new construction, in new cabinets. If you're ever going to build new cabinets, it's not a bad idea to have a cutting board like this. Let me give you a closer look at how much this lady used this. Probably was in here 10 or 12 years, and I think she spent a lot of time right there cutting bread, celery, carrots, all that kind of stuff. Look at that. See what I'm talking about? This cutting board, this lady must have used it for everything. We're going to replace this one. It's an older design of a cutting board. Quite a few years ago, they put a solid wood core in these things and a really thick veneer of maple top and bottom. Look at that good side right there. Nowadays, the breadboard is made with solid strips of hardwood, rubberwood, glued up side by side with food safe glue, and they're really nice. Now personally, I like to just have a cutting board like this right on the countertop. Let me show you that. So here's what I like. I've got one of those solid rubber wood like this, and glued up. And what I did, as you can see here, is I put rubber feet on the bottom of this so I can have it on the countertop. Then I can use this to cut up meat. I can cut up potatoes. I can do anything with this board. And then when I'm all done, I drag it over here to the sink, stick it in the sink, and slosh it off real good. That's what I do. So, a really good cutting board. You should get you some of these. We're looking at a close-up here of the cutting board that I've been talking about. It's solid rubber wood glued up like that with food safe glue. It's already sealed with a mineral oil, and you can keep adding mineral oil to it if you want to. I never do it. I cut so much stuff on there, I never even think about adding mineral oil to it afterwards. It's just such a good board, and I've been using the one I have for a long time. I just cut up a bunch of junk on it and wash it off in the sink, and it works just fine. Here's a nice thing about this cutting board. You have oak on one end and maple on the other. So it doesn't matter what kind of cabinet you've got, you can stain it and finish it to match your cabinet. Well, let's say you cut this one all up and it's looking kind of ugly, then you can just sand it down. Keep sanding it, and it's going to be just fine. If you get a really deep cut in there, and it embarrasses you to have that deep cut, look at this. There you are, another breadboard. flip it over, and use it again. Now the ones I was showing you in this house, they could be tipped over and used on that side, but I wanted solid wood. And that's what I got with this rubber wood. Very nice cutting board. And when I use it on the countertop, then I do cut meat on it, but I don't cut meat on the ones that are retracting into the cabinet. I like to just put breadcrumbs on them and let the breadcrumbs go inside the cabinet. And mice need something to eat too, you know. We don't got no mice here because we got cats, so we don't have mice.